table, but Verdant very obviously not if you've been following along. As we jump into Champs Select, we've got Munster Rugby Gaming on the blue side, Verdant on the red. Of course, Dan Holt, rocking head coach now for Verdant.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what's going to happen with Valkyrie restored to the top lane as well.
Yeah, and of course, that's another thing for Verdant and Verdant fans to kind of, I won't say worry about, but you might not have, it's hard to really phrase it, but, you know, having your head coach be changed halfway through the split, it feels very, very bad, especially when you're, you know, this far in. Maybe systems were set in place, which might now be sort of changed just because head coaches have different philosophies on how they want to play the game from time to time. We'll see if there's any visible effect, whether it be in the draft or on the Rift, as to what Dan Holt can bring to the table as opposed to Surza. But right now, Akali, Lee Sin, Hecarim removed away from Munster, and then Verdant banning away the Gwen, banning away the Zeri. We'll see if we get another very strong ban. Probably the Jinx with what you'd imagine. Or at this point, when, you know, one but the other won't be banned, you leave them both up, you remove away something else, and then you go for that trade. So Munster, you would expect go down the Jinx B1 route, but we'll see whether or not there's something that they actually prioritize a little bit higher than that Jinx. But
with the trades, I was going to mention just very quickly, something like the Fresh could be picked. The Xin Zhao is also available, so if they know that they're going to trade one for the other, they don't necessarily have to go for the Jinx or the Aphelios. They can say, Verdant, you get to decide which. You're not going to go for both, are you? Or just take the strong pieces around it.
Yeah, no, and I think that makes perfect sense. And now over to Verdant, looking at that Thresh first rotation, of course. It means they don't have to really go for their support right now. They can pick up the AD of choice, which seems like Jinx being the hover normally gets locked in here. And then, like you highlighted, I think the Zin's Alpha Keys wouldn't be too bad. You could also go, of course, the Viego. I think either or perfectly fine pickups for yourself in the jungle. But I really do feel like you either want priority AD plus jungle, or maybe you look towards the mid lane if you're happy to let, of course, your support or your other matchup get pinched. But it seems like Viego being hovered by Keys will be the choice here. And then I just kind of expect it's a bit of a telegraphed rotation. Xin Zhao plus the Aphelios. I think it makes the most sense. You already see what jungle you're picking into. You're picking the next best AD jungler on the patch, and you're picking the other S tier AD carry here for Munster, which then says to me, for Verdant, if you're looking at supports here for Winter, of course there are plenty of options. It more or less depends on what kind of theme they want to go for, because right now Jinx can kind of play into being kited into or moving forward. Same thing, Viego doesn't really care whether or not, you know, he's moving forward or people are coming into him. He just wants to be next to people. As long as he's not getting outranged, he really doesn't care too much. Just needs to be facilitated with some level of engage, and that's what I expect we'll probably see our Verdant on this R3. Something like Leona, something like Nautilus. Though, of course, we have seen defensive picks come out of Winter as well. Things like the Tahm Kench could come into effect as well.
I was going to say, with something like the Nautilus, you're not really feeling it into the Fresh necessarily. I think Luna has a slightly better time in that situation, but it's actually going to be the Orianna locked in. So we're not going to be seeing the Xin Zhao picked up just yet, whether that gets banned by second rotation by Verdant now. But that's a very strong standard pick in the mid lane for Chimera.
Yeah, and Chimera, very, very responsible, I think, is the key word to use. And very consistent, too, on these kind of majors, like the Orianna. And it does mean now Verdant going to have to make their mind up on whether they want to go for the support, go for the mid laner. Instead, they say, to hell with it, we're just going to go with the top laner here, and likely going to remove away 2 more tops. If I had to take a guess, Camille will be one, Graves probably the other, if I had to wager a guess in terms of overall strength. You could also see maybe a Tryndamere towards Stumpy, but
I mean, Stumpy's Malphite, get rid of that.
You could also, you either go down the carry routes or you go down the tank routes, right? So you go down the carry route, Graves, Camille, tank route, Gragas, plus the Malphite, but instead they're actually going to remove away Jarvan, which of course does make sense. They don't have a jungler, or rather they don't have a jungler locked in, Munster. So they are going to, it seems like, target out Gaboosh for the meantime. Ericsson going to have his Syndra removed away from him. Very, very comfortable on that champion, Ericsson, even whilst he was in Div 1 under the likes of Barrage. Showed off plenty of times that Syndra was a champion that he could pilot to excellent. See as Lulu going to be taken away from Winner, which I think obviously does make sense. You want to try and keep Jinx as not hyper carried as possible. Having Lulu in the back pocket when you don't really have anything right now to punish it could be a bit of a problem. But seems like we could actually end up getting this hypothesized Tahm Kench pick. I was expecting maybe engage or just down this route. Like I said, Winter, he does seem to lean on these more defensive picks. But we never talk about hovers. Leona gets
Never do it.
never do it. Leona gets locked in on the last second. So finally a little bit more hard engage comes in for Verdant. Back over now to Munster. With the Jarvan and Ruth, I mean, Jarvan Zin still made it through. So Zin makes the most sense. In the top side, it's really up to Stumpy's discretion in terms of what he actually wants to take into the Gnar. There are plenty of options when you're looking at a Gnar counter pick. As okay, I'm gonna hold reservation and see if there was maybe some kind of pick ban issue there, because otherwise we're about
It's
to get...
just shenanigans. It's Gaboosh. It's just shenanigans, and the Wukong will come in as well.
I thought it was troll because they'd been hovering it all down champ select, but apparently not. With the
I mean,
Wukong,
it can still be troll. They've just locked it in.
we'll have to wait and see. Shaco, it's not a champion that we see ever in competitive. Like I was gonna say, like, you know, we might see it sporadically. You might see it like once every couple of years or once every, like, you know, half season or whatever. I don't think, as long as I follow competitive League of Legends, Shaco has ever been meta in anywhere. For that fact, you know, with the exception of maybe those kind of stints where he's like a really strong support because certain items and things like that get buffed. We'll talk about the Shaco once we get into game, of course. Can really warp the state of game simply because that deceive can last for so long. He can find his way into very strange positions that you don't really expect the champion to pop up in. All of a sudden, Shaco, I'm right here, and then, you know, hallucinate into a bunch of very, very annoying crowd control, especially when you're talking about bothering Draconium on the back line. We'll see. It's definitely something that I can actually sort of theorize and say, what if they're just chucking the ball? They're using the Shaco as the ball delivery system. That's my only reasonable guess as to why we're seeing Shaco here into the likes of the Viego, which I feel like Viego 1-to-1 probably just stomps this jungle matchup. We'll have to get into game and actually see how this 1-to-1 works out in the early stages. Of course, Shaco, notoriously a very strong early game jungle. But across the board, I think both these comps, relatively similar themes, right? A lot of dive on both ends, between the Gnar, between the Leona on the Verdant end, and of course on the opposite side, Wukong, Thresh, as well, Orianna, Shaco, all of those things going to be assisting in the dives, with the Aphelios obviously overhead, with the Gravitum or the Infernum Ornaments, things of that nature. So I think both these comps very similar in the sense of, you know, bottom side engage / sort of peel, hyper carry, mid lane hyper scaling mages, top side these sort of frontliners that can provide dive and a little bit of space. It's just more about what kind of weirdness will the clown bring out of Kaboosh.
This is I've just done my research while you've been speaking about the clown. The clown was actually played one game at Worlds in 2021. It was a loss. It's
Like
a
an
secret.
LGL team that
Yeah, it's secret DFM tech is what it was. It's actually seen a little bit of play this month, earlier this month. So it was played twice in the LPL.
Okay.
Spring 2020. So we saw it 2 games by White Dragons, 1 win, 1 loss by Mart. And the most recent stint we've seen it was actually 1 game by Incubus over in the SL 2022 opening, which was a win. So there you go. He built Everfrost. So, I mean, wait. Okay, so everyone else. Okay, so everyone else is building Halo Brave Strybreaker, except for our boy Shal on Incubus, who decided, nah, Predator Everfrost, and we're going Smite Exhaust.
Yeah,
So
we'll have to wait and see. I've just got word from production. It seems like we're gonna have to remake the game, unfortunately.
okay.
Seems like there might be ping issues. TR could be acting up.
TR, don't do it.
Speaking from experience, I'll tell you, TR can be a pain in the backside.
Nice flex. I've got TR.
I don't have TR anymore. I haven't been on TR for about 2 years, but I'm just saying from experience, I know what it can be like. Trying to get into your match game day, and then all of a sudden, all the players have 150 ping, and you have to remake the lobby, swap TR. It's
250 ping.
okay,
Good
I wasn't too far off.
times.
Apparently, 250 was what everybody had. It seems like. So yeah, looks like a lobby remake. Whilst we wait, I don't really want to use up any talking points for this game during this little break. So I kind of want to. you want to deviate, Will? Do you want to use our like podcast time now whilst we still can?
What, we want to be off topic now so we keep on topic in
so
game?
we can be on topic in the game. Yeah, I feel like this is a good use of our time.
Here's a question. Let's play a game called I'ma Google it.
Sure.
Right, so I'm gonna give you a champion.
All right.
And I'm gonna have you guess the last tier 1 region or ERL that played that champion competitively. Okay?
Okay, sure.
So for example,
Fun
with
little minigame.
Shaco's match history, the last game that we saw from Shaco was in the LPL lol, was the last time we saw that one.
Okay, yeah, sure, hit me. I'm down.
Although,
I'm down for this
maybe
one.
I'm a bit confused by this. So, okay, so let's talk about Quinn. What's the last competitive Quinn game we saw in the world? A chat you can play as well. You're invited.
Yeah, chat, you're invited. I did just open chat because I knew we might be here for a little while. Oh, back into okay. I was a bit confused. They're just remaking the champ select.
Yeah, it's fine. Just watch your screen. That's fine.
For the points of obviously clarity, just so we're all on the same page. That's obviously what they're doing. I imagine they'll pick in order. I don't think they're going to remake the draft. There should be same picks, same bands. Just quickly going through all of this. Yeah. So you said Quinn.
Yeah.
Honestly, my best guess would be China straight away. I would say China would have been the last region to play this. If it's not China, we're talking tier one regions, right? So
we're talking tier 1 or ERL.
Oh no, ERL is going to be difficult.
Okay, we'll just do tier 1 region. What's the last like tier 1 region that played it?
Yeah, probably LPL. If it's not LPL, then it's Korea for sure. It's LCK. It's
No,
one or it's one or.
I'm not just those 4. Like any top tier league, Jamada. Come on.
Okay, well my guess is still the LPL.
Producer, do you have a guess?
Brazil from our producer.
It's not a bad shout. It is the LPL though.
Yeah.
In the 2021 Spring Playoffs, it was played by 369. It was also more recently played at European Masters for those of you watching at home. One game by SLT from Big.
And what was that into? That had to have been into Renekton, wouldn't it?
It was in a 2. Yeah, Renekton. Of course it was. It was 2021 Spring EM.
Players. Okay, so Quinn, hit us with another. We've got time for maybe 2 to 3 more at the pace.
Udyr. What was Udyr last
God. That could be any top 4 region, Will, because it obviously dropped out of meta halfway through last year. I mean, okay, I'm gonna make a bit of an educated guess here and say LCK, simply because LCK are normally very slow to come off of meta picks. But did they play? They did play a lot of Udyr, right? They did. I'm pretty sure they did. I don't think they were averse to it. So my guess would be that an LCK team, because usually LCK teams are very slow to adapt to meta and come off of meta picks that stay meta for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in LCK. I'm gonna feel like a fool if it's an LPL team, but I'm pretty sure it's an LCK team.
It was an LCS team.
An LCS?
It was played by Dignitas. In the same season, it was also played by TSM. TSM won their game, so you know it was a while ago.
It was good.
Actually, I say it was a while ago.
It would have been last year.
It was 3 days ago. Apparently. Am I losing my mental? LCS 2022 Spring.
No.
Dika played it.
Dig played an Udyr game?
Yeah, two teams at LCS played Udyr last weekend.
Okay, I don't watch LCS that much, so
I am shocked by this, though.
Okay, aside from those 2 anomaly picks.
Okay, we'll scroll
Is it
back.
an LCK team? Because that would make me feel a little bit better about myself.
Rolling back. All the way. Wait, LMF? Is that... What are you, LMF?
LMF?
You're a second tier thing, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Good lord, we have to go a while back. There's a lot of, like, lower tier stuff.
Just going through the library, though.
Yeah, just, you know... it was played LPL Spring 2022. The 12th of January, actually. It was played by Hacker on Ultra Prime. There you go. Hey. Oh, Don't worry, we're gonna continue playing our game. Do you know what,
Okay.
Joanna? Rengar.
Rengar? Oh.
Rengar. We'll do
You know-
one more, and then we'll talk about something else.
Yeah, we'll talk about the game at hand maybe then, because it seems like
Well,
we might
not
be
at
this for a while.
hand.
Well,
Like,
at this rate, maybe at shoulder, at neck, who knows? Rengar. Jeez. See, I would comfortably say an LGL team if we was including the minor regions, but I reckon the last time Rengar would have shown its head in top 4, probably LPL. But if it wasn't the LPL, then it would have been Bwipo locking it in the top lane before his switch to jungle. It's
well,
one or the other.
the question is,
Yeah.
do you include the LCS 2022 lock-in? Because if you do, it was in the LCS 2022 lock-in.
What's going on in NA? Like what?
If you don't include if you don't count NA,
Right.
then it was in LEC when Bwipo played at top.
Right.
However, it was in NA. I haven't watched any of this split.
As shown by the LCS organizations themselves, they don't care about lock-in because they don't feel their strongest roster. So I don't care about lock-in because
Okay,
that's how that works. I was right with my guess, and I specifically got the player, so I'm happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
no double points here. In fact,
No
there are
double
no
points.
points here. That's
Yeah,
not how this
no,
conversation works. But I'm pleased with your achievement. Congratulations. Let's do one more. Let's do Heimerdinger because
Oh goodness me. Okay. The easiest thing for me to say is Hjarnan still playing?
I
Because
will. Well, I'll scroll back to
I'm
find
pretty
it.
sure he's in Prime. He's in Prime League. I think he's still in Prime League. I don't think because he was on Gamer Legion last I remember, but I can't remember if he came. I know he left Gamer Legion. He's no longer on that roster. I just don't know what team he joined, if
Okay,
any.
I can confirm that the last person who played in the top 4 region on Heimerdinger was not Jan. No, Reed, it wasn't. You
Oh,
can't hear the other half of the
just for yeah
conversation,
for the
really. You can't just go,
for the audience, you might want to say what Reed's guess was. Just
was it Seros?
Seros.
Yeah, it wasn't him
So
either.
if we're going by region,
I'm looking at what it was played with, and this is a nutty composition. I'll tell you the composition when you're done.
oh
But like,
no. It's LEC. It was a no no stakes game. I just can't remember the teams. It was a no stakes game. I think like there was a Karthus in this game. There was a Yasuo in this game. It was a really weird game. I think it's this LEC no stakes game.
it wasn't. No, it was in LCK 2021 summer.
What?
Dam One Gaming, DWG Kia, to those of you at home, played Viego, Zinzao, Lulu, Senna, Heimerdinger.
Dom One played this comp last year.
They did, and they lost. I'm not particularly surprised. Jamada's had enough. He's gone. He's had enough. But thank you for joining me on. Although, interestingly enough,
Sorry,
it was actually played
yes
in the NLC Spring Qualifier at the tail end of mid-October.
Right.
We saw it played by Bifrost. We saw it played by London Esports. When they actually, it was played 2 games on London Esports. Stumpy, who is playing in this League of Legends game, not playing this, trying to install TR for this game.
TR6 for this game.
Played Heimerdinger twice. Both times into Resolve, another team that no longer plays League of Legends.
That's so funny.
1-1, lost 1.
Hey, fun fact, Camaro
3 games, Stumpy!
Why are you looking at him with disgust? Actually, speaking of being disgusted, how angry are you that Vega's in the meta at the moment in the mid lane?
Honestly, I am thrilled. So let me explain this to you. I have been fighting for 7 years that Vigar is busted and needs to be. Well, realistically, his E needs to be removed.
Okay. So
now the popular opinion has shifted, and I've suddenly got all of these pro players and coaches and teams out here being like, Vigar is stupid, please remove. And I'm sitting here like, yes, I've been saying this for years. I am fearful of when he gets that small nerf to his W or some nonsense that Riot's going to be like, yeah, this is the change that's needed. And everyone will go back to be like, yeah, it's fine or whatever. And I'll be sitting on the parapet like, there's going to be that 2-week period where I ban Vigar every single game, and someone on my team will say, you don't need to ban him, have you not read patch notes? That is something I'm prepared for. But I've casted a couple of games of Vigar since he's been in vogue, and I don't think he's won yet while I've cast him, which has been quite pleasing. It doesn't really help my point, but has been pleasing to see. In fact, it was one of the games, I believe it was a game that we cast together on Div 2 that we saw him in, because it was the game where Stumpy stole Baron with his Malphite ultimate. Which
as soon as it dinged in my head, the memory just came back. I was like,
because I remember him getting the Vigar got killed by a Malphite ultimate. I just sat there laughing, and chat wasn't very pleased. They called me
chat wasn't very happy either.
But at the same time, Vigar's stupid. But a couple of weeks have passed, and I feel like chat will have, if you've been playing League of Legends, will have slowly moved towards my stance of Vigar is dumb. And it doesn't even make sense for me to be bitter about this, because I play tanks. So it's kind of irrelevant to me regardless what state Vigar's in. But no, I mean, it's fine. He's not, I don't like him, but he's not really actually seeing that much play because there are other mid laners that are priority over him, really.
Yeah, no, that's
for whatever reason.
Do we, I don't know if I can read, do we have an ETA on what's happening?
Jemana's like, I want to go get dinner. Do you know what?
Oh, awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Because players don't update both TLs. Yes, continue.
I'm going to come out and say it. I went over an hour for a takeaway today, and it's got nothing to do with this, but I just want to get it off my chest.
Sure.
I ordered a takeaway from a reputable UK fast food delivery service. And it went through the order was fine. It was great. And then I get a call like 5 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, my house is a little bit difficult to find. Maybe it will just be a case of them asking where my flights are. I was like, this is a bit soon. And the woman's on the phone. It's like, hi, I'm from this delivery service, this restaurant.
Sure.
Just like, the takeaway is going to take an hour and a half. Is that okay? And I was like, why is it going to take an hour and a half? I know where this shop is. It's like a 20-minute walk from me.
Right.
They were just very busy. So I got my takeaway. It was hot, to be fair to it. Like it was clearly busy because like the food was warm, but like I just wanted to get it off my chest. It was just
fair enough.
A stressful afternoon.
I've been pressed into a very hard decision recently.
Okay, talk me through it.
When it comes to fast food delivery services, so
I
like to go to a particular place where you can get shakes, get milkshakes.
Right.
They consistently forget the straw.
No. Right. See, this is the strat. I have metal straws.
Will.
Wait, do you have like the 4 straight ones, the 4 bent ones, and like the 2 fat ones? Because you might have the same set of straws that I do, so that'd be very exciting. Sorry, chat. We're waiting on the game.
Oh my god, I actually do. Hold on.
We've got the same straws! Because there's 2 fat ones, which are good for like milkshake and like boba. Yeah, those are my straws! Yeah. Right, this is brilliant. Do you have the like 2 pipe cleaners as well?
What a great way to spend the broadcast.
Honestly, this is
I'm really glad this is.
You have the same. My sister bought me those for my birthday last year, and they've been truly
seems like
sensational.
Seems like such a great investment of money. What else is it gonna be?
Freaks are paying us to talk about this.
Yes,
just as a shout.
Yeah. Thank you, Freaks, for making this all possible.
We love you.
We do. Seems like we're still waiting on players to update, unfortunately, and me and Will, as stubborn as we are, probably are just going to refuse to go to break. So here.
We never go to break. Going to break is actually for cowards. If there's ever if there's talent that's like we're going to jump to a short break when we sort out these cowards. I'm saying now.
I'm glad that at the moment, this is going to sound really bad, that we're not a bigger broadcast simply because I know chat will be filled with start game.
Ask to start the game.
Caster, start the game. Press the button. We know you can press the button and start the game. Okay. It's relatively chilled. Shout out to the people waiting for this game
I
to
never
happen.
open chat because they scare me, basically. But
I,
it's a good time.
yeah,
We're all
no,
we're all here to have a good time.
exactly, and that's always the great thing about casting Div 2. To bring it back to Earth
Mm.
a little bit, it does feel like a bit of a community thing. You always see the same sets of people in chat. You always interact with the same kind of people. The same people are always super vocal on putting their opinions out there and making it for fun conversation when it comes
Mm.
to competition, which is always great. Um, so yeah, shout out to the community of Div 2 because I mean, as long as I've been doing UKLC, it's super fun, and I have some very very fun news for you guys. We are
Oh.
in Champ Select, which
Although I will say
obviously means
we've been
obviously
here
means
before.
one, we've been here before. Two, we are step one. Well, technically, if you want to be semantic, step two. Step one, get into lobby. Step two, get into champ select. Step three, sorry, Mike, get into game. Step four, not have 300 ping. So we're halfway there.
It
Okay,
should be fine, says our
should be okay
producer.
on this load in. So we can finally get to see Verdant versus Munster. Of course, that is the game. We haven't really spoken about it because we've been running for about 15 minutes. Beg your pardon. Of course, now that I have soft confirmation we're going to have the game on our screen very soon, we can start to talk about the game a little more. For Munster, it's not a nothing game. Of course, you want to keep the
Mm.
wins coming. You want to make sure you're securing first place, and especially when Natives are going to be taking on London United, you expect Natives to win that game. Munster, they want to keep sole possession of first place, just to ensure, of course, that higher seed come playoffs. And of course, it's always nice being able to say, "Hey, I was the regular season champion of any competition that you take part in." And for Verdant, again, much like Domino, this win very, very necessary in terms of keeping up with the playoff pack, especially when you talk about the expectations this team had as Verdant, right? Especially not only like expectations from the community, but self-imposed expectations. These
Yeah.
expectations weren't just brought about by the fact that hey, these guys have a strong roster. This was Verdant coming into the scene, knocking down the door, and saying, "We're gonna win this whole thing," and confidently, here's our roster. So to see them 3-5 at the moment, it's not a great look, obviously, but there's still plenty of time to turn things around. And sort of in that, I would call it that kind of Mad Lions sort of style. The regular season doesn't really matter too much, right? It's about what you can do in playoffs. But
Mm.
crucially, much like Mad Lions right now, thank you, Reed, for bringing the champ select on our screen. So we are getting a bit of soft confirmation there. It's in the load in. Much like Mad Lions, this split, whilst they don't look too great in the regular season, as long as they can make it to playoffs, that's the important thing because that's when the chips really matter. So for Verdant, a win here against Munster would be absolutely fantastic as well because this is the end of the first round robin. This is the final game
Yeah.
for all of these teams in their first round robin. So being able to come into the second round robin saying, okay, we've got the head to head on Munster right now. Sure, we might not be contesting them come the end of the split for their position necessarily. You never know what happens in League of Legends at the end of the day. Being able to say, yeah, we took this game off of Munster, and that's the important one because at least when I look at League of Legends or any kind of sports where there's a table involved, right? Obviously, every win is a win, every win is important. But if you're a bottom end team and you take a win off the top side of the table, that's absolutely massive because the teams around you aren't going to do that. If you take
Yeah.
a win off the team around you, or aren't necessarily going to do that, you take a team off a win off the teams around you, that's massive because you're immediately leapfrogging them. So a win here would do absolutely wonders for Munster. Probably not only for the standings, but probably for the morale, right?
I
Having
was
to
gonna
go
say
through the
mentality would be
yeah, the
big. If you
mentality.
take a win off Monster Rugby Gaming, suddenly Middlecott's shouting in the post show, just like, yeah, we're the best team in the league, blah blah blah. You've got players having a bit more belief. You've got a new coach who's coming on through, who has been with the team, notably from the beginning of the split, but hasn't been head coach until now, coming in and saying, look, we've changed our system up. It's working. Clearly, we're getting good results against good teams. And now we're going to be able to start building upon this. And it's not just a case of looking immediately to the top of the table, right? You win today, you're on tied up with Domino. If Rate lose later on in today against Flong, you're going to be tied up with them. If Lucent lose to Lightside, you're going to have overtaken them and be a win ahead of them moving in. And suddenly you're saying, right, we're on this kind of small pack of teams that is fighting for the top half of the table. This is a great place to be. Yeah, it's not where we want to be saying, rah, rah, we're going to be first. Oh, Reed, don't tease me about going into... Oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying with us. Half an hour late, but we're going strong. It's game number 2 of NLC Division 2. Munster Rugby Gaming on the blue side, Verdant on the red. And it looks like the players are also itching for a fighters. Both teams are stacking up.
Yeah, and on the Shaco box. Okay, this is actually a smart adaptation because this says to me, okay, Verdant know there's a Shaco in the jungle. They want to interrupt the boxes. Let's stack on top of this box and we can get a free level 1 kill.
They're going to be able to get the flame through. Winter in trouble. Another box is being placed down. There's the ignite. There's the burn. There's the first blood. Going over to Merbs and Munster Rugby Gaming. 500 IQ play. Make it work.
What a spectacular thing to see from Munster. This is the kind of, forward thinking you don't always see from players, right? Verdant, they're against Shaco. What do you want to do to interrupt this early farming path? Knock away the boxes, right? Make sure that he can't put down as many to slow down that clear as fast or as much as we can. Munster just stack on the box at the Raptor camp. Very keen eyes as well from Keys. I believe he smited the box to ensure that maybe it couldn't quite actually fear somebody as soon as he recognized there was a 5-stack in there. So good job for him to try and save his support. Wasn't quite enough in this one. So great adaptation level 1 from Munster. Verdant unable to fortunately walk away with too much information or any at all. And now junglers will return to either side. One thing I will say though is keep an eye. It's a very, very niche thing, but keep an eye on the smite counters because Keys, of course, blew his smite early and then it started to recharge. Typically, you don't have anything on the map to actually smite that early on. So now he's already down 3 charges away from 900 level, damage smite. I think it could actually add up because I think that first smite charge only starts to recharge after the first smite or after a certain timer. In this case, it started recharging straight away. So I think this might genuinely be a small thing we have to keep our eyes on, especially if there's something like a Herald contest where Keys might just have access to that 900 damage level smite and Gaboosh might not.
I was going to say, is that something to look out for at Dragon or for first Herald?
Yeah, I would imagine Herald, just given the cooldown. Dragon, a lot less likely, but just keep your eyes on it. Could be something to look at. In terms of lane states, though, Ericsson in the mid lane looks like he's going to exchange his mana bar to try and hold mid lane priority for now. And on the bottom side, full control for Merbs and Blue, as expected. Range support into melee, even though they are both, technically in lane, engaged supports. Here's just the matter of fact here is Hook missed. Winter goes in for a trade. Merbs does an excellent job of trading back onto Winter to ensure that is a punishable trade. Ericsson dipped into fog. Looked like he was trying to get vision, but didn't quite make anything happen. And junglers have both just traded full clears. Handshakes those in this case. So I think both sides for now pretty happy. Munster obviously walking away with that first blood. Great adaptation from them at that level 1.
Yeah, going to be able to secure both of those camps as Keys moves in. Of course, moves back into the jungle after a game in the top lane. Returning to the top lane after a little bit of time away. We're just covering it while Valkyrie was away. Now has returned to the starting lineup. Up against Stumpy, the Heimerdinger Savant. As we now know. Apparently on Wukong though, so unlikely, very different champions.
Yeah, going from a mad
they're both furry. I mean,
right. Moving away from that talking point.
This is the level of analysis that I can give. Right, if you're watching, get me on as a color caster because clearly I know what's good.
The fantastic thing about it is you do unironically actually, you might be one of the smartest, if not the smartest, play-by-play that I have the pleasure of working with.
Oh, that is a slamming indictment of Hitbrain, but okay.
I mean, Hitbrain is like he says, yeah, I'm not all there when it comes to League of Legends knowledge all the time.
But no, it's always good to have a bit of an understanding of what's going on, just understanding the meta. As I'm Keys thinking about the top side, but not really gonna find too much as Stumpy has been forced under town with not going mega there. It's unlikely that any ganks are going to take place as Keys moves away, but we've had a very, very slow start to this game. It feels pretty lethargic. Everyone just trading, junglers just clearing. But with Dragon up soon, it's actually only one smite away from IM Keys getting that 900 smite bonus. So if this Dragon is delayed by a little bit, or if he sees gank bot, yeah, we could actually see this come into play, which would be an interesting one. As Gaboosh goes forward, Death Sentence doesn't land. He's going to get slowed, stunned, so much damage. Gaboosh is good on. That didn't work, but we're going to see the return kill. Merv's picking up a kill onto Winter. It's a 1-for-1 trade. We built this up half an hour of hype. I need to get it back into my system. We're coming in cold on this game, but IMKeys is starting up the Dragon. Hasn't taken that last smite, but this will be the last smite to go through. So you were correct. Rift Herald will be where we could see a discrepancy if it is started up on spot.
Yeah, and it's such a niche thing. It's not something you get to see very often because, like I said, there just aren't many smiteable objects pre that minute and a half spawn up on the jungle camp. So now has access at before 6 minutes. So when this Herald spawns up, he's going to have that 900 smite available. Typically, what would end up happening is you would have the 900 smite damage ready, or rather, it would be on your HUD and you would see it, but it'd still be on cooldown by the time the Herald spawns up. As it looks like,
in the jungle. Baloo's in a lot of trouble, puts down the lantern, but he's not going to be able to pull himself in, gets the shield, but it may not be enough. Chimera trying to put some damage through, but the Rift Walk is going to come in. Nice death sentence, but there's no damage from Chimera, really. Has the ultimate. Ashley has already used it. As Kaboosh moving forward, it will still be a 2v2, but IMKeys is moving through as well. 3v2 in the side of Verdant. They've already picked up a kill as well, but Murbs is here. Just burning through a ward, though. Isn't going to be able to get to the fight proper as Winter flashes away. Nice stun to disengage from Viego as well. So we'll just be Verdant picking up a kill and leaving with what they gained.
Yeah, all right. So does sort of stretch out a little bit, but like you said, Verdant pick up the kill and eventually leave. However, it did cost Ericsson's flash and ultimate on the chase in. So we'll see if that's something that comes back to be of importance. Kaboosh, of course, could very easily gank this Rise with no flash now. All it takes is a shockwave from Chimera, and the setup is pretty much as simple as can be. Keys has that 900 damage smite, like we've been talking about a little bit, and we'll see where it comes into effect. Has his whole top side to clear at the moment. And actually a very clean path down top to bot if he wants it. We'll take him away from the Herald though. But it seems like for now Verdant aren't too interested in that one for now, given the lane states. Ericsson also coming back out from base. Valkyrie's holding this. Well, it was a freeze for a moment. Now turning into a bit of a slow push. Let's see, maybe they use that stacked up wave. Maybe Ericsson trades his health bar mana pool for a little bit of prior in the mid lane. Valkyrie looks like he's going to take a reset now. So that says to me, okay, what we could potentially expect is Winter to walk up to the Rift Herald relatively soon. But looks like no, actually. Despite the stack and wave. And that teleports maybe get an IM advantage to come back in. Just a reset for exactly that. Verdant will stay in position for now. And Munster themselves now have a much stronger opportunity to take the Herald. Bottom side wave all the way in means the bottom lane can roam up just in case it's necessary. Stumpy TPing back to the top side as well. Ping's coming in from Verdant. Looks like they want to try cut them off, but looks like that opportunity's gone for them. And
Valkyrie might be in trouble here. Stumpy's coming in from the top side. Kaboosh has chased him up into try and will return to the Rift Herald. Has Chimera and Stumpy in tow. IMKeys and Ericsson moving up towards the objective, though. There is the smite advantage, but it's not actually going to matter as there's no real pressure coming through from Verdant. Munster will be happy to secure that one for themselves. And now it's on Kaboosh to decide exactly where he wants to prioritize that investment.
yeah, and I think the obvious answer is you just want to put it into Murbs, right? Already 2-0. Has a shutdown on his head already as well. Just give the Herald to your Aphelios in this one. Wukong really isn't going to need it up in the top side. Orianna can work low econ, right? If you're looking for strictly utility, of course you want the Orianna to be dealing damage, but let's be real. You have hyper carry, AD carry in the Aphelios. We know where that Herald's going in most cases. And Keys actually trying to read the map here. No information on where Kaboosh might be, but maybe here expecting Kaboosh to be on the bottom side, but he's actually in fact on the top side instead. So if a fight kicks off, Keys is going to be here.
Defense lands, but Keys just looking for the recall as Munster not looking to all in onto a Leona, which is probably smart, but he's thinking that something might be going on, but just keeps resetting that recall. And Munster, if they're not going to get caught out here, they can actually see him on a wall looking for the death sentence. They're wasting so much of Viego's time.
Yeah, I mean, they are at the same time. Viego didn't have too much to do on the map, but now it looks like he's not going to have much a window to even reset either. Because he had no jungle camps, no top lane to gank, mid lane gankable, but would probably have to be an overforce. So no time on the map. He was kind of just allowed to do something like this. Ward goes down in vision. And there you go. Ping finally comes in. So they're aware that somebody is likely in that bottom side brush. Chimera hugs the top pocket. Loads of lovely stuff on the micro end coming in from Munster. As Gaboosh, you can tell, definitely wants to drop this Herald down. They're going for a fight.
I guess a fight in the bot side though. Baloo takes a lot of damage, gets burnt low by Draconium as junglers have arrived. Ericsson needs to be careful, runs away but doesn't get far enough away before he gets assassinated. Chimera coming up through. That's a nice ultimate with a shield from Merbs, who's putting out so much damage onto Viego. He's going to get taken down before he can reset as Gaboosh has that clone, is going to chase on with it. But won't be able to find an explosion onto Winter or Draconium. Very close run thing. It goes the way of Monster Rugby Gaming this time. But they're not going to drop Herald.
No, not going to drop Herald. They pick up the kills that they needed to. And they're just going to walk away a little bit over 90 seconds, or under 90 seconds now, before that Herald times out. So they're going to have to think about where they want it eventually. Valkyrie getting the better end of this matchup right now. 2 plates dropped, gets the Demolish proc. Or almost 2 plates dropped, rather. Looks like that whole Breaker Rush is going to come into effect as well, which on that, very, very obnoxious, especially when he goes into Mega form, because in Mega you get so many free stats anyway. Whilst you are in that form. In Mega, it just makes you pretty much unkillable 1v1. We'll see what Stumpy itemizes into, because it looks like with the Sheen, double longsword, I believe that is the new build path for both the Sunder and the Triforce. I have to look into it, because I've not played too many fighters. But of course, all the build paths, Total AD, HP, all changed around on a lot of these fire items on this patch. Has greatly shaken up what is picked up in the top side.
Yeah, how much stuff costs? Chimera's getting rooted up. A lot of damage. Nice ultimate onto 2.
Oh!
As his team turns up. Baloo with the save. A lot of work happening from this rest right now as Ericsson chased on. Is also taken out. Winter will fall in the river as Merbs gets another shot for the double. And yeah, another excellent play from Munster. The Dragon wasn't even touched by either team. So it's just free real estate.
Really is, and now Herald dropped in the mid lane. They're going to chunk out that. They should be able to retreat to the Dragon if they really want it, but honestly, I love this from Gaboosh. He just counter jungling in the top side. He says, you know what? We could get this Dragon, which we would get anyway, or I can deny half a level of XP and gold from the top side jungle, which feels, I mean, I don't know. To me, it feels more suffocating if I'm Verdant than losing that Dragon, but he could actually get forced out of the top side. Did he sneak away with the red buff? He did.
Yes, the red.
Now, naturally, this does mean Verdant have a window to take this Dragon. But given how well Munster have been playing their team fights so far, if they don't pick it up in time, and I mean, look at this Death Sentence. It just, right out the Zenith Blade and drags her just about away from the wall. The Flay even catches Ericsson on the flash. It's a goal line save from Blue to keep his mid laner alive. Winner goes down. I heard red team has slain the Dragon, so Verdant do pick up that Dragon. But fortunately for Munster, it RNGs a Cloud, which, given your gold lead, do you really care if Verdant have a Cloud Dragon? Or, you know, if in 10 minutes time they do manage to pick up these Dragons and, you know, the game state stays the same feel it is right now? I don't think you do. Not even saying that, what are the chances now that from this point on Munster give them the opportunity to pick up these Dragons? As Hex Flash dodged away from. Death Sentence as well. And Munster sitting comfortably about 3,000 gold up. All these first items starting to come in.
I was going to say, a lot of money going into pockets. If we could just see where that gold lead is lying, though, because in the top side, you can see a nice 800 gold lead for Verdant's top laner for Valkyrie. But you look across the rest of the map, and it's not looking so hot.
Yeah, jungle AD in particular, right? Jungle 1.5k up, ADC about 1.8, 1.7. And that's only going to grow this gold lead because now Merbs is going to be able to catch these waves up quite high. There's no mid lane tier 1. There's going to be a lot of vision control, I imagine, from Munster to ensure they can pick up these waves safely. And once this Herald is also picked up, which should go down in favor of Munster, Verdant don't really have the setup, and it looks like they're just going for a cross map already onto that bottom side tier 1, which is definitely good news for Verdant. You can already see they're still being proactive on the map and a little bit predictive, because in this case, Munster are a little bit slow to taking down this Herald. They will actually miss out quite a few resources, and if Stumpy catches this wave and they see him early enough, this can just turn into a 3v1 dive. There's ultimate and flash available for Stumpy plus that clone. it's a lot to work around, but this tower's pretty close to dying.
I don't know how much Stumpy's going to be able to survive. He's diving directly onto Ericsson, trying to get proactive, and will be able to flash away. All the tools burnt. The monkey does survive, but the tower does not.
Yeah, the tower does not, but I mean, that's decent enough weak side play from Stumpy, but now the issue is the Herald goes down in the top side. Merbs catches another free wave in the mid lane. Gold split between Chimera and Gaboosh, not too bad, and they can even turn this into a second charge. I won't say a second tower, but the rotations are slow from Verdant. I feel like this charge is going to come in a little bit late. Maybe they can. Forces a 4-man get out ASAP. Looks like that will be the case. Winner does have ultimate. Will they push the button and go? They've got members coming up now.
Ooh, the ultimate has been pushed on to Gaboosh. They're going to be able to catch out Shaco. He's going to be his ult, will get away. The Lantern helps him out with Valkyrie looking for the stun. Will land onto 2. A double stun onto Chimera. He's going to fall. Baloo managed to get away for now. The damage coming through from Merbs is pretty big. But I don't know. Verdant have 5. Munster have 2. As multiple members fall. Monkey on the bot side. Stumpy not interested. Munster overstayed just a little. The tower might have been worth it, but it also might not.
Yeah, I mean, they give over 2 kills, 600 gold. I didn't quite catch whether or not Chimera had a shutdown or not. At 1-0 4, my initial reaction would be he should have, but Munster, they overstay for that tier 2. You kind of understand it. They feel strong enough to contest, but it's just a really nice punish from Verdant at the end of the day. And I think I will say the saving grace for Verdant overstepping, or not overstepping, but pushing for those kills that Merbs didn't have any kind of, kill gun combination there. I believe he had Graviton plus Severum, the red gun. Which definitely saving grace. If that's an Infernum, it's definitely a different story. Gaboosh. Gonna be fine. I think the irritating thing about doing that to a Ryze, from the Ryze point of view, is when you put the box down to fear, if Ryze steps on the opposite side of the box, his spells get blocked. Or the most damaging spells get blocked anyway.
Yeah, his Q gets thrown directly into it, and then he's a very sad man because
Exactly.
all the resets don't come through, and they're not bursting everywhere, and there's just a Shaco laughing at you, which is just not fun for anyone, really. Interestingly, he's gone towards that Gale Force, as opposed to the now more common items that you will be picking up.
Which are, Will?
Ah, you called me out because I forgot the name of it. It is the... Oh, what's the name of the item?
Go on.
I'm working through it. Stride Breaker. There you go. That's the name of the item.
You had to rack your brain a little bit, but yeah, no.
I play tanks. No one builds Stride Breaker that I play. So, I knew what it did. But he's actually gone for the Gale Force, which is a little bit more damage, a little bit less survivability, and also a little bit more mobility as well.
Yeah, especially... There can be moments, especially because we're not talking about, the solo queue Shaco that's picked up 5 kills in the early game because no one looks at their minimap. This is competitive game Shaco where, yes, he is admittedly strong, but the odds of him outright blowing up, the likes of Draconium or especially Ericsson now that he's got the Tarbies and he's going towards that tankier Fimble Winter build is you can very often leave targets at sort of that 80% HP mark after a full combo. What does Gale Force do? It works as a bit of an execute here. Going to go for the Essence Reaver as well as a second item. I imagine IE would come in third. There's maybe arguments for a Collector if you're only looking at Draconium and that's your only target. But Dragon picked up, like we said, after that second Dragon pickup from Verdant. Munster giving that one up willingly. They're just saying, we know they're not going to be strong enough in 5 minutes time to contest the next one. And the fact that it also RNG'd over to a Cloud just means, yeah, they don't care for the time being. The flat stats just going to be nice enough. And now Munster, it just feels like they slow down the pace of the game a little bit. They're not making too many moves on to any of these neutrals too aggressively or onto these side lane towers because they've knocked them down so quickly.
They've already taken so much real estate on the top side especially that they don't need to overforce. They're saying, we can afford to let you hang around for 5 minutes, just farm up. We're not going to open up an opportunity for you to come back into this game because we're comfortable with our gold lead. Of course, Merbs, 2 items already as Gaboosh just dancing away from IM keys there on the Viego. Shaco, of course, very difficult to chase. No one's really going to be able to get on top of him and stick on him unless the wall of Viego with only 1 dash and CC attached to the same ability unless you're counting his ultimate. So there's no point in overexerting to try and catch Gaboosh, who's unlikely to be caught regardless. But we're looking at where the fights may occur next, because we've got the Baron on the Rift. It's just spawned up. No Rift Herald in pocket for either team this time around. So that's going to be the next battleground unless we see one over the dragon, which, as you mentioned, it's not really high priority, so it's going to be more about a pick. And Neo almost victim there, just gets sniped out as Stumpy comes in towards him from the bottom side. Caboose is now chasing. Keys goes over the wall though. The ultimate burst by Stumpy, not going to catch on to him. And Monster Rugby Gaming can't find their kill.
Yeah, can't find their kill, but they get the flash and the ultimate out of Keys, so
true.
Not going to be too fussed about it. Stumpy did blow his ultimate in hopes of maybe catching up. But still, slowing down the pace of the game, it just feels a little bit suffocating for Verdant. Of course, maybe an argument to say, hey, you're giving a Rise, you're giving a Jinx a little bit too much time. And I mean, hey, you know, you look at the inventories here. 2 items for Ericsson, 2 items for Chimera, 2 items for Merbs, plus that BF sword, of course. But Draconium also has been the benefactor of, well, no, all of the kills almost. 4 out of 5 for Verdant. So Keys actually at parry with Munster. And I know typically Rapid Fire Cannon gets flamed a lot. I feel like it might be okay in this instance. Maybe. Because I don't really feel like you want to be in range of any of these champions ever to get that first auto off. But you have to wonder whether there was another second item, which people would have been a little more universally happy about.
I mean,
something I think about a lot these days.
Yeah,
especially the AD carry itemization.
It's just a case of when you're looking at the team composition for Verdant, you mentioned it yourself already. The Jinx is the only really target for assassination. Once Rise maybe rises for the next.
I mean, before he finishes,
not very long. Yeah,
not very long that window.
Exactly. So it's a case of we're just going on Draconium. Draconium's like, I'm not going to be anywhere near. Thank you very much. I'm going to be chilling at backline and Rapid Fire Cannon. While it doesn't necessarily give the same raw damage in team fights as secondary items might have, if you look at something like the Hurricane, or even something a little bit different.
I'd say mostly people look at the PD or the Lord Dom's Flower. I think in this game, if you're talking like, you know, super optimized, is that what I think catches all of Munster in this rotation here? Will be clear the way though. Typically it's PD. Obviously, if you're dealing with a lot of frontline, then it is the Lord Dominus Regard. I think Collector is just always bad. And obviously, I'm not talking about Jinx with the Collector. If you see a Jinx with a Collector, report them.
I was about to say, like, what are you talking about? Collector, Jinx sound. Get involved.
Sounds good. But of course, it's an item you see sometimes on the Aphelios. And I just say, if you can build Lord Doms instead of a Collector, you probably do.
Which is what they've done. Lord Doms picked up the second item for Merbs on the other side of course on that Aphelios, as Verdant looking to move down mid lane, getting a lot of damage onto this tower. Won't be able to secure it as Merbs and crew are quick to respond. As Stumpy moving forward, trying to get onto Iron Keys, but won't be able to find the knock-up drive sword. Will be able to grab it onto one, but only onto one. He's going to be rooted up for such a long time. So much CC is being thrown at his face. Will be able to take a route out. But honestly, I mean, very, very close.
Yeah, Verdant can walk away happy with that one, though, because if you're talking about ultimate economy and especially impact ultimate, Merbs no longer has the Moonlight Vigil, and Stumpy just blew the
Boosh delivers the ball. There's the ultimate. Iron Key's in trouble as the Shaco's still standing. Will get cut down, but he's put down a lot of boxes on his way out as Winter will be chased away. Stumpy goes over the wall, can't find the execute, moves on to Valkyrie. Nah is small and isn't building rage. It will be a pretty tough customer to catch, but moving their attention over to Ericsson and Winter 2v4. I don't know if Winter gets away. Ericsson is driving his way out through the jungle, looking to use the ultimate. Won't be able to dive back into it as Stumpy smacks him across the head, taking him down. Baloo puts down the lantern, can't find the dev sentence, won't even throw it. Stumpy was confident, but decides to back away with the rest of his team. Munster, the fight looked good for Verdant initially, but they turn it around.
Yeah, they do turn it around. Munster, we spoke about when we was a little bit unsure about the Shaco pick, what could one of the theories be? Ball delivery system, it works that time. Works spectacularly. Valkyrie just in this mid lane, trying to clear a wave, make sure that no tier 2 push comes in. Should be absolutely fine to do that. And Verdant now is one of the strongest feeling 2k gold leads I think I've seen in a while. As Munster does feel like they overstep. Stumpy uses decoy at the right time to ensure he doesn't get bursted down. Ultimate from Merbs, a little bit over-eager maybe. Maybe expecting more people to be in that bush, not really working with too much vision. And then eventually kicks off this fight. Rune Prison, a lot of damage comes into Merbs, but it's just that ball delivery system. Just absolutely deletes Draconium. Turnaround from Verdant, not really much one to be found. Munster kind of just send them packing from that point on. As soon as that ball is delivered by the Shaco for that shockwave, feels like lights out. Brilliant death sentence. Blue's really been on point.
I was going to say, Baloo's been exceptional this game so far.
And Ericsson, you know, I don't quite feel like he had to walk back around. I think he could have actually stayed in the bush. I think the ult might have clipped him through the wall if he was super lucky, but in the moment, hard to say. You want to walk as close to the center of that ultimate just because of how it's coded. Hashtag Fnatic pause. People that get it, get it. As
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. As Munster sitting pretty comfortably. I think this is one of the few avenues that Verdant could potentially abuse, is this side lane split push, but now, honestly, that Stumpy has the whole breaker of his own. Can hold out quite well, if you were to ask me. IE finished up for Merbs as well. So 3 IM80 carry, 26 minutes. This looks like a pretty fast Baron if they want to make it happen. Are they all going to go over the wall? Looks like they have, so there's no vision here. Is Felios hitting that over the wall?
Yeah,
with green
like
gun? He is, yeah.
Now that the Scum's just moved in.
It's just too late.
Bot side, Stumpy and Valkyrie just having a scrap, ulting directly into the wall. Doesn't really matter on Gnar though, because you have your ult every time you go large anyway. But in the mid lane, we could be seeing a bit of a scrap as Merbs trying to hold on to this tower, but lots of members of Verdant, the rest of his team's reset, and the Aphelios will just have to give it up, steps forward to clear out the wave as the cavalry arrives. But now the question being, Baron has been picked up, 5 members of Munster. How much can they secure from this? Looks like they're going to try to start with the Viego as they move forward. He goes and stumble over the wall with his ultimate, but won't be caught by Gaboosh just yet. And will be able to find his way to freedom. What are we looking to pressure if we're Munster? What areas are we looking to try and use this Baron?
I mean, you probably want to knock down the final tier 2s, right? This tier 2 in the mid lane seems like the primary target for now. And of course, that very irritating tier 1. They're just at the bare minimum from this Baron. And they're going to have a lot more of a duration to work with as well. Just get all of these towers that are still outside the base. Ericsson doing his best to be a bit of a nuisance on the side lane here. And I like this. He should honestly get this entire tower pretty much for free. I think Munster's focus is just solely going to be on, hey, we're looking for the bot side ball delivery system.
Oh, looking for Draconium. Get a lot of damage, but don't get the kill. That's the problem. You can't get the assassination just yet if you're the Shaco. As they look to pressure on the side wave, Stumpy picking up that bot inner. As the rest of Munster forcing towards the inhibitor tower. The ultimate from Jinx is just going to be used a little bit to try and burst out members, but not going to be able to take anyone too low. Shaco dives away. As the inhibitor will not be touched. The inhibitor tower goes down. Base is broken, and that's a lot of cannon minions.
Honestly, I don't even like this from Munster. I'd say leave Stumpy on the bottom side with those 3 hull breaker cannon minions of Baron Buff. Massive wave stacked up as Keys out position
He's in
here.
Trouble, looking for the flank, but might be caught out himself. Goes towards the blast cone, will take it over, but will not find a way out. Ultimate in vain as Merbs secures another. And now Munster can turn their attention back towards the siege. They've got opportunities bot with a wave. They've got the mid lane open inhibitor as well. It will be the bot lane that falls down first. Inhibitor will also be forfeit. You've got to imagine as we've got Shaco alone in the mid lane. Just going to force through and secure the double inhib. Don't think they're going to be able to force any more. Not sure they'll be able to get towards those Nexus towers. Munster going to be very, very happy with what they've achieved so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Double inhibitor break. I'm going to move up now towards that top side. And that's all they really have to work with now. They can go get that Cloud Dragon if they really feel like it's going to be an issue. But at this point, I just feel like it'd be a time sink. Just come out, open out onto the top side. And just play as 5 through that top side of the map. Baron buff going to wear off right now. But quite frankly, given how strong they are, they just don't need it to siege. Verdant, loads of pings on this dragon. Maybe they feel like Munster are going to contest it, but it makes sense why Verdant are doing this. They want to take the dragon off the map, get themselves as close to Soul as possible, and by proxy, the Elder, if they can hold out for 11 minutes, it's a big, big ask. Then maybe they can flip it an Elder fight. But right now, Munster are just playing this one out with supreme discipline. Doesn't really feel like Verdant have had too much of a option in the last 10 minutes to really come back into this one without fault of Munster themselves. Being well played out here. Stumpy's on the bottom wave, quite far away. Gaboosh looking for an opportunity. Might be a nuisance and take down this ward. Not going to quite find it. Stumpy's just guiding that bottom side wave, and there's 4 people on the top side. Stumpy teleports in.
Oh, a lot of CC going down onto Chimera. Needs to be careful, but the damage coming through from Aphelios. Actually, not as much as you'd think from an ultimate, and Munster forced to back away for now. Will Verdant be able to hold for another wave? They clear out the cannon as Merbs just clearing himself, and now you've got to be careful as Shaco has to jump through, but taking a lot of damage. Gabush is getting a kill, actually gets out for a second longer, does go down as Valkyrie caught in the ultimate from the Orianna. The Master Rugby Gaming, they've already lost their top and jungle, they're not able to force run the fight. Yeah, Merbs does a lot, but not feeling safe to step up. It looks like Verdant have defended.
Yeah, all right. Maybe one of our first major missteps from Munster we've seen this game. Gonna hold on for dear life for now, Verdant. Inhibitors still open on the bottom and mid lane, but I mean, this is crucial, critical time that they're gonna need to maybe make a miracle happen. Of course, you know, Rise, Jinx, they're not scaling slouches either, right? And at the end of the day, if you give these 2 carries enough time to pop off, they will do that. Merbs opted for the GA as a 4th item, so no more crit damage, no more life steal for the immediate future. And that Zeal says to me, what PD? Probably, of course, it could be, I think, all of the attack speed items, Zeal. So we'll see what exactly Merbs will do with that as highlight on this ward. Real nice lane ward. One that, if you're a support and you're in a position where you're ahead in the game, highly recommend you get these lane wards down. Keys potentially in trouble.
Ultimate from Orianna burnt though.
Yeah, but it's a short cooldown. I mean, you could click on Chimera, it's probably about 40 seconds, if that. Yeah, there you go, 43. It's not particularly a long cooldown at this stage of the game anymore. So you can go for fishing almost like that. You don't really feel too bad about it. Winter's going to eat a nice little chunk. Eclipse will cut out some of that damage. But I mean, for Verdant, this doesn't feel too bad, right? You're still definitely losing. You're slow bleeding. You're not getting, you know, any closer to a potential victory. You're probably going to lose this Baron. You can maybe look for a fight. Because at the end of the day, it's a team tanking up the Baron. And Stumpy's actually on the bottom side with no teleport. So this is a fight they could take after the fact.
Baron's been secured by Munster though. Shaco able to secure that one as Winter going in, looking for a target, has found one onto Chimera. He's going to go low, does get burnt out as Munster looking to disengage. Ultimate from Jinx goes wide. As Stumpy is lackadaisically moving up towards the team fight, but honestly, not going to achieve very much now as the ultimate reset was used by Am Keys, but interesting decision making from Munster. They get Baron, but they do lose their mid laner.
Touch audacious from Munster not having teleport on the top laner from Stumpy. It's something I caught very, very late. It's why I started to worry for them for a second. Verdant almost handed an opportunity to come back into the game, but unfortunately, Advance cut a little bit short. They're not able to really pick up anymore. And it just means Verdant only really walk away with that kill onto Chimera, but the Baron buff remains on everybody else. Gabush, I don't think that's a target you can necessarily assassinate, but with help, you definitely could.
Getting the damage down, it's Stumpy who actually goes for the engage initially, and they can't take him down. He's half health when he moves out. This tank build on Rise is so effective in just standing strong and putting out loads of damage as well.
Yeah, it's obnoxious, to be fair. And I did actually see a Negatron cloak in his inventory, which says to me either Banshee's final or Force of Nature. Okay. And I said Banshee's, but I don't even...
He just doesn't want to die. He's just a tank.
Yeah, exactly. 4k HP almost. He is effectively the frontliner and the main damage dealer next to Draconium. It's not something you get to say often about many champions. But he's not going to be blowing people up like that traditional like Mage Rise, right? The Archangels.
Yeah, it's not going to be the one shot, but it's still going to do a lot of consistent damage if you can stay alive. And when you've got this much health, it's difficult to take you down. And Merbs has been targeted pretty effectively. Yeah, he hasn't gone down yet, but he's been forced out of a number of different fights. And if the Aphelios isn't free firing onto targets like the Rise isn't falling because there's not really any other damage dealer that's going to be able to deal enough quick enough. As you see the engage coming on through, neither team able to land too much. Decent amount of damage coming through from Aphelios as they move towards this mid lane inhibitor. They've got the Baron minions. There's the shutdown going on to Shaco. Jinx is dead. And here we go. Munster have started up what could be the final team fight. They take down inhibitor mid. They take down inhibitor bot. They're chasing forward to grab themselves a glory kill as well. They're going to try and
He's just
take him
rainwater
down, but
the
Rise is
table.
going to be able to rainwater out because the CC's all gone. But Nexus Tower 1 goes, Nexus Tower 2 goes, Merbs is free firing onto Valkyrie, looks for one more, won't be able to find it, but should be able to find the victory. Only one defeat in the first round. Robin, as Munster Rugby, take down Verdant.
Yeah, Munster, clean, decisive. It's a lot of what we've seen from them from effectively week 1. Business as usual for Verdant. Unfortunately, they weren't really able to find a foothold in the game and something to lean on successfully. I think, compositionally, looking at the draft over on my left-hand side, very similar, right? A lot of, very similar styles of play from top to bottom, right? The only kind of difference you could say is, Shaco's kind of got a different play pattern to what Viego wants to do. Even then, they're effectively trying to achieve the exact same goal in a lot of these team fights. But Munster's execution and in-game decisions when it came to those, giving out those first 2 dragons, but they're taking jungle camps or, securing gold and XP in trade and then saying, hey, we're stronger than you now that the 3rd dragon's rolled around. What can you do on the map? The answer is not too much. And it just felt like a bit of a macro difference. Munster were just making those map-wide decisions faster. And Verdant, just, again, like I said, no foothold to stand on, no champion to really say, okay, we're going to lean on you in the mid-game. And Munster just slow choked them out.
We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we'll be chatting to both of the teams, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.